Today on the Stay at Home Chef, I'm showing you how to make Korean glazed chicken drumsticks. Korean barbecue is all the rage in the States, and for very good reason. It is super tasty. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a quick Korean-inspired barbecue sauce. We'll brush that over some chicken drumsticks, pop them in the oven, and then have a delicious, tasty, finger-licking good meal you might get from a food truck, all with very little effort. We'll go ahead and start on the stovetop. We'll start with 1 tablespoon of sesame oil in a saucepan and add in 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. We'll whisk this together over medium heat. Whisk this in just enough so that the cornstarch is completely dissolved. We'll add in half a cup of soy sauce, half a cup of rice vinegar, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, 6 cloves of crushed garlic, a teaspoon of ground ginger, a teaspoon of sesame seeds, and half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. And whisk this all in. Let this simmer for just a couple of minutes. The cornstarch will act as a thickener and thicken this up. You want it to be thick enough so that you can brush it on the chicken drumsticks. This right here is the consistency that we're going for. Remove the sauce from the heat and set it aside for a second while we get our chicken drumsticks ready. I have 8 drumsticks lined up here on my parchment-lined baking sheet. Now you can use parchment paper like this, or you can also just spray a pan with nonstick cooking spray. Now I like to pull the skin up so that it covers as much of the meat as possible. And this one, as you can see, has a lot of extra skin and fat. So I just take a knife and trim that off because it gets kind of gross if it just sits in the pan like that. It's particularly important to take care of the skin when you're working with a sticky sauce drumstick because the crispy skin won't hide any of the flaws. Next, we're going to take the sauce and brush it on. Just lather it on all of these drumsticks. Make sure each one is nice and saucy. You want these to be just covered in flavor. Once they're just doused with that sauce, pop them into a 375-degree oven for about 45 minutes. Actual cooking time will depend on the size of your drumsticks. You're looking for an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Once they're done, garnish them with some sliced green onions and additional sesame seeds. Thanks for watching. You can find the full written recipe in the video description. Be sure to subscribe and check out the rest of my channel where you can find hundreds of restaurant quality recipes you can easily make at home. See you later.